Hello everyone. We are the group 7 and we will discuss about the Smaller and Smaller Circle written by F.H. Batakan. Next slide please. The members of group 7 will be Abaldenosa John Kelvin, Alfaro Janil Marian, Ampasa Abdul, Apolinario Mark Derzon, Dacosca Samantha, Heramia Arnulfo, Hagone Justin, and Rojas Emil. Intro. E.H. wrote Smaller and Smaller Circle. The novel Batacan explores the darker side of urban life in Manila and landmark work of Filipino crime fiction. The novel, which debuted in 2002 and praised for being among the first Filipino mystery detective genre, making it stand out in the canon of Philippine literature in Batacan. Two Jesus priests and foreigners specialists named Father Gus Sanaes and Father Jerome Lucero, and introduced to reader. Next slide please. Character: Father Sunaes, Father Jerome Lucero, Carlos the Killer, sino to? Director Arquinas Joanna Bonifacio.
Summary of the plot. The book revolves around a string of horrific killings in the Manila neighborhood of Payatas, where young boys' disfigured remains are discovered. Father Gus Saenz and Father Jerome Lucero, two Jesuit priests who are also forensic specialists, get interested in these killings because of their gory character. In addition to dealing with their own personal struggles, Father Saenz and Lucero are tasked with solving the case. They must overcome several obstacles such as biases in society and resistance from enforcement to find the killer by putting together clues from the crime scenes. They continue in the hopes of bringing justice to the voiceless while being hampered by the dishonest officials and encountering society indifference toward the impoverished victims. Theme: 1. Justice versus corruption. 2. Social inequality. 3. Psychology of crime. 4. Religious influence.
On the explain personal reflection, I might say that author Mactan has a unique and brilliant manner of explaining why serial killings occur in society, while presenting written detective and serial killer stories. Is, is not only captivates you with her insightful storytelling, but also makes you aware of how corruption and ineptitude can enable the restless murder of countless innocent people. This book also asserts that there are monsters and criminals in our society who are allowed to carry out, out their crimes, but because of a system that permits them to do so. With the little action taken by the leaders who claim to protect us, the story emphasizes that in our nation, the authorities will fully address our problem until they understand how serious it is for individuals or even for themselves. Even if they are unaffected, I come across the heart-wrenching thing in many books. We Filipinos learn from the story that poverty can silence your voice when witnessing and reporting crimes. Instead, you may choose to remain silent out of empathy. You will not believe someone who commits such a act against young children or adolescents in Ayaka. Unless you read smaller and smaller circles, the book also shows how we might help in addressing the issue they face. In many books, I have encountered such a story that touched the heart, and this one also reveals how this problem can be solved. Next slide, please.
Conclusion. In conclusion, Smaller and Smaller Circles is a gripping crime novel that also delves into the societal injustices experienced by a marginalized group in a corrupt system. Through the investigation led by Father Gus Saenz and Father Jerome Lucero, the novel highlights the problems of a flawed justice system, especially the corruption, inefficiency, and indifference towards the poor. The two Jesuit priests, driven by their moral obligation, succeed in taking down the killer, but it doesn't change the fact that there are deep-rooted problems in the justice system that remain unchanged after apprehending the killer. The novel is a captivating murder mystery that also highlights the flawed justice system and how poor are often neglected and don't typically get the justice they deserve. It leaves the reader to reflect on society's failings and what a broader spectrum of justice looks like to address the root cause of injustice and ensure a fair and equitable system for everyone. So, in the novel, uh, after finding out who the killer is, there there's a larger problem that remains unsolved, which is the system itself is corrupt, whether it's the church or the government. Uh, it shows how inefficient they are, especially towards marginalized groups. So, after apprehending the killer, there are still larger problems that remain unsolved. And that's all. Thank you. Book review blog. Number one, what message does the book convey? Smaller and Smaller Circles conveys themes of justice, social decay, and the search for truth within a corrupt and broken system. Set in the Philippines, it follows two Jesuit priests investigating a series of murders, highlighting the challenges of seeking justice amidst institutional apathy and inefficiency. The novel critiques societal indifference to the marginalized while exploring the capacity for compassion and cruelty. Number two, in your opinion, does this kind of crime continue to happen in our country? Yes, similar crimes continue to occur in our country, often exacerbated by systematic issues like poverty, corruption, and weak law enforcement. The novel reflects ongoing challenges, addressing these problems and protecting marginalized communities.
Um, Book movie vlog, we end up the idea to create a two question that connected to the story, smaller circle, and we answer it in our own perspective or opinion. Next slide, please.
Done.
Book versus movie. Book. The book Smaller and Smaller Circle by F.H. Batacan divides a deeply into the psychology and moral dilemmas of protagonists, offering rich internal monologues and, and detailed investigation. Similarities. Both book and movie follow the same central plot of the Jesus Priest investigating a series of murders in Manila and uncovering corruption and social injustice along the way. They share similar themes of crime, morality, and challenges pursuing justice within the flow of system. Movie. The movie adaptation seamless the narrative focusing more of visual storytelling and dramatic tension to suit the medium or of film. Okay. While the while for the book versus movie, we decide to divide it into three person to explain their ideas or own perspective in the book, and also other three person for the movie. And for the similarities between the movie and the book, there are two people for that. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching.